Hi everyone, and thanks again for being with me. Again, Peter Dutton is at it again, and I'm about to tell you what he's doing next. So, Peter Dutton has decided that because last year's voice referendum was such a miserable failure for all of those of us who wanted equity and fairness and a voice for Indigenous people, because he realised that that is something that that the voting public would not support, that he has decided that focusing on Indigenous issues is something he must continue to do. Because somewhere in there, he believes, rests the votes that he needs to take away from the Greens and the Labor Party. Now, in order to do that, he now has decided that he will not place an Indigenous flag behind him. Instead, I'm assuming he's going to place the Union Jack. Now, the question here is, what is our flag? Well, I don't think the Union Jack's my flag because I don't believe in colonialisation to start with, and secondly, I don't want to have any allegiance to somebody like the King that has got nothing to do with our country, that is completely irrelevant to us and the way we manage ourselves and our culture. So bugger off, King, and therefore let's not support that particular flag. However, because he is such a sycophant to the Crown and to Britain, and the Liberal Party in general are, I hasten to add, he's decided that he wanted to snub the Indigenous flag, a flag that I would prefer to celebrate if we could, as opposed to the colonial flag that is representative of Australia at this particular point in time. And there is another flag. There's a flag we have of the green and gold, which has an emu and a kangaroo on it. Quite symbolic, because neither of these animals can jump backwards. So, but we could, but he doesn't, because he's looking for a fight around an issue that he believes is going to divide our country even further, and therefore develop some success in terms of the votes that he requires in order to become Prime Minister. So this is what it's all about. So in an article in the Sydney Morning Herald, this issue is discussed. And it starts with the Indigenous flag is an easy target for Dutton when he's kicking down. So he's certainly not kicking up, he's kicking down. He's kicking those people that are less powerful than himself. Peter Dutton has cold political logic on his side when he says he will not display the Indigenous flag if he becomes Prime Minister. And further on down, I love that photo of him. Beautiful, beautiful shot, Peter. And further on down, it says, Dutton invites a backlash from Indigenous leaders when his remarks with leaders about his remarks, but no doubt calculates that this will work for him. Just as the progressive attacks on Donald Trump only seem to amplify the presidential candidate's message and help him win. And I think this is the issue. I think what we're going to see in Australia, mark my words, we're going to see more of this Trumpian crap than we've ever seen before by politicians that are looking to be populist. So this is what Dutton will be doing from this moment on until the election. Even so, the timing is revealing. Dutton is about to reveal the costs of his nuclear energy policy, but is happy to detonate an Indigenous dispute. Labor certainly wants this week to be all about nuclear, but Dutton knows the tricks required to set up a distraction. So is this what he's doing at this point? I think so. Will this work? The referendum outcome showed that 9.5 million Australians voted against the voice. In the weeks before the vote, the Resolve political monitor in this masthead showed that 84% of coalition voters were on the no side, and 33% of Labor voters felt the same. Dutton assumes he can win some of those Labor voters. In doing so, of course, he plays a naked political game over Indigenous rights without doing anything practical to help. That is not leadership. So he's decided that he's not going to do anything about Indigenous issues and won't, as a political party, if they win power come next year, he won't do anything about Indigenous affairs. It will be forgotten because he will see it as not being important. Dutton calculates that this will work, but he risks paying a political price. Do Australians want 3 years of culture war after the next election? Labor is trying to brand Dutton as angry, negative and divisive. His latest ploy makes him look all three. And I couldn't agree more. It was as if I wrote the article, because Dutton's doing all that he can to ensure that whatever anger is in the community, whether it's about anti-Semitism, whether it's about Muslims, whether it's about immigration, whether it's about Indigenous affairs, he's looking for the negativity all the time. There is nothing, in fact, that Dutton does that expresses positivity, which is going to contribute to our society in a more productive way. Even nuclear isn't going to do that, because it's so far down the track, it's not going to affect anybody, even if they do it, for decades to come. So here he is trying to find things that he can do that puts a wedge between us. And we need to be mindful of his intent here, because this is not good leadership. It's terrible politics, because at the end of the day, he's not bringing people together. He's separating them as best he can. And it won't bring about a very productive government if he wins. It's a disaster. So be mindful of all of that. Now, let me know what you think in the comment sections below. Ring the bell for further notifications. And in the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and make sure that you and the people that you love are safe.